children illegally entering the United States must find a temporary home in Marietta. Tens of thousands of children end up in government custody each year. 11 Alive's Elvin Lopez spoke to a nonprofit about a possible short-term solution to help the children as their cases are processed.
Yeah, Jeff, that's right. If approved, the temporary home would house 50 children. And here's how the kids end up in this situation. Once they're taken in at U.S. southern border, they're processed through Border Patrol and placed under the care of the Office of Refugee Resettlement under the federal government. Then they try to find sponsors, typically family, relatives, to keep the children while their case goes through the immigration courts, which can take a long time. NBC says 69,550 migrant children were held in government custody in the U.S. over the past year. Of those, NBC says about 4,000 are still in government custody, many in large shelters. The UN says that's more kids detained away from their parents than any other country. According to NBC, the Trump administration's strict immigration policies has increased the time unaccompanied children spend in detention.
We can uphold the law, we can go by all the statutes, we can go by all the policies, but we can do it with comfortable place to live, get the attention that they need because these are still children.
Freeman Grace Holdings expects to hear soon whether or not the federal government has approved a grant from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of Refugee Resettlement to open a new shelter here in Marietta to house unaccompanied immigrant children. Mitchell Bryant, a managing partner for the organization, says the children would stay at the shelter for about 35 days.
We're going to make an impact. It doesn't take long to make a good impression, so we're going to do that in those 35 days and see about the least of these. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
An impact, he says, in the form of education, compassion, and counseling. If he gets the green light for funding, he says they will make minor renovations to the building immediately, hire more than 30 staff members, and have the doors open by late February or early March. Bryant, who is a pastor at Atlanta Pavilion Fellowship Church, sees this as a calling.
My calling is to look after the least of these. It could be my child. It could be, someone else's child. You never know.
And Bryant says the location of that shelter is key because it's not too far from the airport and the immigration courts. If he gets the go-ahead, he says children will be getting 6 hours of education a day, and he expects to hear back from the federal government in the next 30 to 45 days.
All right, Elwin, thanks a lot.